This movie loves to rechart old ground. It begins with the same non-linear story structure that started with Uncharted 2, where Nate is upside down, but instead of being in a choo-choo train, he's in the airplane from Uncharted 3. It has the pirate's treasure from Uncharted 4, along with a rich villain who hires a strong female character to help him find the treasure, who inevitably turns on and betrays the very fella that hired her.
What are you doing?
Whoops! An auction where Sully bumps into and has a prior relationship with said character. A first-person segment, just like an Uncharted... Wait, what? Parkour in the rooftops of a Latin country like an Uncharted 3, and plenty more. Like I said, this movie recharts old ground, which leads me to one elegant conclusion. This movie is simply recharted.
Hey Mark, do you know what the word Uncharted means?
It means something brand new, never before seen, hasn't ever been put on a map yet.
And that's what this movie is. The story, Uncharted, the action, Uncharted, the locations are Uncharted.
The only new place it goes to is Papa John's.
I'm like literally in a Papa John's right now. Excuse me, guys?
So yeah, this movie picks and pulls from the greatest hits of the game series, and as somebody who's a huge fan of this franchise, I gotta say, it's really strange seeing all 4 games just packed into one movie. I found it all to be somewhat messy and distracting. And what's even worse is, much like Papa John's pizza, the Uncharted film is bland, mediocre, and somewhat disastrous. And I plan on using this video to tell you why. However, the Uncharted film is so unremarkable that simply reviewing it on its own won't be enough to keep me interested in finishing this video. So, I've decided that I'm also going to be reviewing every single Papa John's pizza here in Reno to find out which one has the best pizza. It's not this one.
Good luck.
But let me be clear, this is not a bad movie by any stretch. In fact, it's probably one of the best video game adaptations out there, which isn't really saying much, to be fair. At times, it was kind of fun. The action scenes were adequate, the fight choreography was solid, and I'm honestly impressed at how good this plane scene looks. Tom Holland did a lot of his own stunt work for it too, which makes it feel much more believable. And while it is an impressive feat of filmmaking, it's still, not as good as it was in the game. In between action scenes, the movie really lurches, with incredibly lame puzzle solving, which we'll get to that in a little bit. And all the dialogue scenes are so boring, with weak character development.
Look, if we want to get the gold, we're gonna have to figure out a way to trust each other.
And rampant exposition. I'm gonna show you a quick little montage of some of that exposition right now. But thanks to YouTube's copyright system, I'm not able to use longer clips from this movie without the video getting claimed. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be putting the movie footage inside of this here Papa John's pizza so that I can trick YouTube's copyright robot. Bon Exposition.
There's an auction coming up. Biggest collection of Spanish Renaissance art and artifacts anywhere this century. One of those items is La Cruz de la Hermandad. I flew helicopters. I was preserving some artifacts from a museum in Baghdad. When I was over the max load weight, crashed pretty hard. They got all upset, kicked me out. I know where she took the man. Bancada, right? I mean, think about it. Who else gonna have the resources she's gonna need? And Braddock and a goon squad just so happened to find us at the church? You had to have somebody on the inside. Chloe?
So,
What's the right amount of exposition, and how do you layer that exposition with some character revelation so it doesn't feel like just pure exposition? That's very difficult writing.
I'm gonna do some exposition of my own here. Exposition is not good. Exposition is lazy writing. Exposition means that the writers don't know how to convey pivotal information without being contrived. This pizza is not good pizza. Okay, so let's talk about the movie's puzzles. These puzzles are so incredibly basic that even a reviewer at Polygon could have completed them had they been included in any of the games. Now, to be fair, the puzzles in the games were never all that complex, but they were still a whole lot more engaging than this.
Hey, I got a skeleton with angel wings.
Does Mary look a little off to you?
So that's the first half of the puzzle, pushing that button. The second half, however, is much more in depth, as it requires two people to turn both keys at once.
Turn.
Oh yeah, makes for a real riveting watch. However, the final puzzle in the movie truly captured the essence of the game series. In an effort to figure out the true location of Magellan's treasure, this ancient booty that has eluded dozens of adventurers for hundreds of years, a life-changing $6 billion is on the line, and to locate it, Nate just lines up both of these MacGuffins on the map like this. Yeah. Hard to imagine that Sir Ian Magellan would use similar puzzle concepts to a store-bought puzzle room game I played one time.
Open.
Then it probably 4.
4. Where's it? You
4.
see case number 4 in the
that
folder.
is neat. Okay.
This movie's biggest mistake was its portrayal of Nathan Drake. There's actually quite a lot wrong here. It's crazy. And, what is it? Oh. My biggest mistake was that I accidentally came to a Papa Murphy's instead of a Papa John's. In our official introduction to Nathan Drake, we see him steal from an innocent lady, which makes him instantly less likable. Yes, he stole from innocent people in Uncharted 3, but there he was a kid in a foreign country. He had no income, and it seems as though he needed to steal to survive. But here, he has a job as a bartender and is stealing from people purely to establish to the audience that he is indeed a thief. A thief who feels justified for stealing because this chick uses
Daddy's money.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry!
Well, that was a little out of character. The Nathan Drake I've come to know and love murders hundreds of men without remorse. And by golly, we love him for it. In the games, he's also a bit of an everyman. He knows how to fight, but he doesn't have any official training. He sort of flails his arms around, but it gets the job done. In the movies, he's damn near on Jackie Chan's level, whip-kicking things into his hand and literally breathing fire. He's so capable here that he almost feels inhuman. Now, I completely understand that this isn't the video games. It's a movie that wants to stand out on its own, so it's only natural that they would take certain liberties with the characters to make them work better for the big screen. But the thing is, it doesn't set itself apart from the games at all, because it's constantly reusing set pieces and story beats that we've already experienced in the games themselves. So, when Nathan Drake does something slightly out of character, it just ends up feeling bizarre. Another issue is the script seems like it was written for Nolan North's Nathan Drake, with lines of dialogue that seem like they could have been ripped straight from the games.
Water. A lot of water.
But they don't work, because Tom Holland is the one delivering them, not Nolan North.
And here is your card back, Mr. Sullivan.
Please, call me Victor. Come on, I spent 10 hours in the trunk with him. I couldn't help myself.
It doesn't seem as though the dialogue was tweaked in any way to better fit Tom Holland. Which might be a big reason as to why I was never able to fully accept Tom Holland as Nathan Drake, and I would imagine most people feel the same. While he is likable and charismatic, he lacks that ruggedness that Nate himself possesses. He seems like a nice kid, and he's a good actor. He's just horribly miscast here. I mean, first of all, he's far too young for the part, and he's already been pre-established as Spider-Man. It's nigh impossible to look at that chiseled jawline and not think of Peter Parker. It's just an all-around terrible casting choice, and to say otherwise would be a strange hill to Zendaya on. You know who I think would make for a perfect Nathan Drake, though? It's this guy right here. His name is Patrick Wilson, and he's delicious. I mean, think about it. This guy could absolutely pull off a Nathan Drake look. He doesn't have any iconic roles, so his portrayal of the character wouldn't be distracting. He's a solid actor, he's got the charm and charisma required to play Nathan Drake, and at times he sounds eerily similar to Nolan North.
Yes, my brother Paul, the David Lee Roth of the group, right? As we mentioned, yes.
They also did Victor Sullivan's character dirty. They really sullied him. In the games, he was fun, jovial, upbeat, elderly, and extremely likable.
Know what I love about partying with a bunch of crooks?
What's that?
Nobody cares if you smoke indoors.
In the movie, he's just Mark Wahlberg.
Almost 2 years ago, San Sebastian, Spain. We were getting close to Captain Elcano's tomb, but Sam was sure we'd find his journal.
But I'm honestly not too sure who would be a good casting choice for Sully. Maybe you guys could tell me who would make for a good Sully down in the comments. When you don't buy Tom or Mark as the actual characters they're trying to portray, everything else falls apart. It's nearly impossible to care about them the way the movie wants us to. And because of that, every discovery, every puzzle solved, and every action scene winds up losing a lot of potency. I will say though that the chick they got to play Chloe is a pretty good fit. She's got the look, she's got a similar enough accent.
Sally doesn't have any friends. I should know, I'm one of them.
That's not true. People love me.
And she isn't a well-known pre-established actress, so I can buy her as Chloe. But what I can't buy into was the choice to make this movie an origin story. I feel that was very unwise, because now they need to spend so much valuable screen time establishing how these characters met.
Victor Sullivan. You can call me Sully.
Thank you.
Whereas in the games, character relationships were established through context. And it saves a lot of time. We don't need to see how Chloe and Nate met. And yeah, we did see how Nate and Sully met in the third game, but the two of them meeting was essential to the game's narrative, rather than being an obligation like it was in the movie. And the movie also wastes time trying to make it seem like Sully might not be trustworthy.
Hey, maybe I should hold on to that for a bit.
Oh, you don't trust me?
Oh, is that supposed to be funny?
But there's no point in doing that because, as fans of the game, we all know that he's trustworthy. There's no tension or mystique because of it. For my money, if you want to make an exceptional Uncharted movie, one that's true to its established characters and would keep fans of the game happy, while also drawing in a new audience, do what Adventures of Tintin did. This would have allowed the Uncharted movie to be completely animated. That way, all of the original actors could return to do the motion capture and voiceover just like they do for the games. This would allow the movie to maintain the feel of the games, but it'd still have the freedom to be its own movie. But instead, they made this.
Well, good thing they didn't know we wouldn't be here, right? Like one big happy family.
And it feels evident to me that this movie is nothing more than a cash grab, because it seems as though nobody working on it understood what made the Uncharted games special. And if they did understand that, they weren't competent enough to make it work. I wouldn't call it a bad movie by any stretch. No, it's worse than bad. It's mediocre and uninspired. Thank you. You too. Speaking of uninspired, how about we try the third and final Papa John's pizza, huh? There's a problem with this pizza. The problem is it was made out of Papa John's. To be honest with you, all three of these Papa John's pizzas I got today tasted practically the same. And here I was thinking that trying out every single Papa John's in Reno would fill me with a sense of discovery, novelty, and adventure. But instead, I was only met with mediocrity. Perhaps Papa John's and Uncharted have a lot more in common than I initially thought. Thanks for watching, everybody. I want to give a big thanks to all my patrons here. Every single dollar I get from the Patreon goes right back into this channel and allows me to get more costumes, props, and better equipment. So if you want to see the quality of this channel continue to improve, maybe consider becoming a Patreon. Also, I would heavily encourage you to go check out my video on VR chat. I think it's far and away my best work. And let me know how you guys are liking this new format, where I make smaller, less time-intensive videos, which allows me to upload more while I work on bigger videos in the background. I got something real special coming up soon. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.